build consensus around rebranding your city? You've heard it said that those who do not know history are destined to repeat it. So let's take a chapter of history off the shelf together and see what we can learn about building consensus. We're going to get into some detail, so if you're rushed for time, favorite this post and then come back later when you have dealt with those urgencies. Just 11 years after the 13 colonies had won their independence from England, their attempts to unite themselves under a common banner had stalled. Delegates from each of the states had gathered in Philadelphia in an attempt to hammer out the details, but what they discovered seemed like insurmountable differences. Benjamin Franklin, now while he had no official title beyond being a representative of Philadelphia, had earned the respect of each of the members of the Constitutional Convention. So when he rose and made his motion for prayer, the others quieted and listened. Now here's what he said to the confused and discouraged group. "We shall be divided by our little partial local interests. Our projects will be confounded, and we ourselves shall become a reproach and a byword down to future ages. I therefore beg leave to move that henceforth prayers imploring the assistance of heaven and its blessings on our deliberations be held in this assembly every morning before we proceed to business, and that one or more of the clergy of this city be requested to officiate that service." Now, the precedent Franklin set is why the formal gatherings of civic leaders in the United States begin with prayer. Because regardless of your religious or spiritual orientation, the act brings a shared sense of need into focus that few other rituals can. But it was more than simply a call to prayer. In his motion, Franklin painted a compelling picture of what was at stake should the group fail to overcome the individual interests of its members: fragmentation, frustration, failure, and shame. What does this teach us about building consensus? Franklin showed us that consensus is built on top of a shared sense of a problem. Without a shared sense of what is at stake, partisanship reigns. In a local government situation in which I was employed, a global business consultancy firm was engaged to make the bureaucracy more efficient. They spent 2 years taking boilerplate solutions from department to department, but their efforts were met with resistance and cynicism. As a result, the little progress was achieved. Now, why is that? Because the government leaders did not first make a clear and compelling case for why the change was needed. And to compound that, these leaders failed to first consult with their department leadership and frontline personnel to come to an agreement on the problem the consultants were there to solve. The way to build consensus around city rebranding is to engage stakeholders in defining the problem first. And this definition is not some collection of far distant prognostications. It's concrete, and it has a face, and it has names. If we don't change course, people that depend on us for leadership are going to suffer. I would recommend painting a rosier picture, but decades of research showed us people are motivated more by fear of loss than the expectation of gain. This is not manipulation. These are painful losses that are certain, and it's just a matter of time. And who wants to be the woman or man upon whose watch those clouds rolled in? So if you and your colleagues are considering a change of the magnitude rebranding entails, stop. The inclination to serve can sometimes prompt us to act prematurely, before we've laid the necessary groundwork that will ensure our efforts take root and bear fruit. Start the process by crafting the narrative of what is at stake should you maintain your current course. Ask yourself, what will happen if we do not do this? And then ask yourself that question again and again until you arrive at the essence of why this change is needed. And then share that view with your colleagues. One at a time is better than group settings because people are less defensive and more open when they're not afraid of looking poorly in front of others. The process takes a little more time, but the time and energy you invest dramatically increases the probability you succeed in building the foundation of agreement necessary to support a rebranding undertaking. Would you like to talk more about your city? Book a no obligation 20-minute discovery Zoom where we can learn more about each other and determine if next steps are desirable. You can use the Calendly link in my post. For now, thank you for doing the important work that you are doing, and know that it is deeply appreciated and that you are making a difference.